Hello, and welcome to our podcast. This is Unity Church of Chatsworth. Our spiritual leader, Reverend John Washington, and I am Michelle Washington, RN, pastoral nurse.
From the Old Testament, book of Jeremiah, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declared the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.
From the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, edited by Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity. The metaphysical meaning of Jeremiah. Jeremiah, the one whom Jehovah set up. The metaphysical meaning of the name Jeremiah is spiritual faith. Spiritual faith is demanding that all religious thought be true in observance of the law. The individual who has faith is very courageous spiritually, but in outer consciousness, such as one may be timid and shrinking when directed by the Spirit of the Lord to testify to truth, as was Jeremiah.
Today, yes, we are continuing the New Year's season of practicing the presence of God. And again, I recall another scripture, which is, greater things shall you do in my name, in the very name and nature of the Christ. Mm-hmm. And how about that Jeremiah, Michelle? I know that you read several quotes about Jeremiah from the Old Testament.
I've learned more about Jeremiah in the past 24 hours than I knew about him ever before.
All right,
yes.
All right. And do you believe it's true in terms of faith, having faith in this Bible character, or that same faith, or that strong faith, I'm going to say, is how does that feel? Is that comfortable for you?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, isn't it?
That's a good answer. I like that. Thank you. And so again, our 3 points for today, as we before we bring up the 3 points, we have some questions that we'd like to consider.
Yes.
We're considering them, and we're asking, yes, all of you in our YouTube community to consider also. Question number 1, do you remember hearing the voice of God? Where were you when you heard the voice of God? Now, this is going to be different for different ones because we are different people.
Certainly.
All right. So I remember something called the dark night of the soul. And we haven't talked about that before, but for those of you who resonate with the idea of having a tough go of it, and in fact, in some traditions, for example, there's a 12-step tradition that does say sometimes we can hit bottom, and then from that darkness, we can be inspired,
yes,
or we can hear the voice of God, especially when we are praying for or asking for guidance. So again, we invite you to consider practicing the presence of God, and where it concerns faith, of course. Do you feel confident? Do you feel less than confident when you hear that voice of God? I do know that from time to time, it causes me simply to pause and to remember another scripture that says, if you have ears to hear, you will hear.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Have a blessed week.